Hello to a rather wintry welcome. Our test subject for today is the Fiat 500e. As the name suggests, this is the all-electric Fiat 500. It does take a little bit of a wiggle to get this off. Oh, maybe I have to unlock the car. Hold on, let's do that. Let's see if it unplugs now. There we go. That took considerably more effort than it should have. But what's the car like? We'll get into that in a second. As some of you may know, the original Fiat 500 showed up in 1957, stayed in production till 1975. So, for a very long period of time. Then the second generation, which they just called the Cinquecento, which means 500, showed up in the 90s, was sold pretty much just in Europe. And I think that did nearly a decade of production. Then the nameplate went away, showed up again in 2007, which is the Fiat 500 most people in North America are familiar with, because that was the brand's reintroduction into the North American market. Although it was introduced in 2007, but it actually took a few years after that for it to finally make it to North America. But it was on sale here for a good period of time, sold in fairly good numbers, and part of the reason it was successful was because it was not only very cutesy to look at, but also very affordable. Less than $15,000 for a base one. These electric 500s are quite a bit more money than that. We'll get to the actual price in a bit, but this is not a cheap car. Question is, will this be successful? Only time will tell. So let's examine this car in all its details as per normal review style. And we'll begin with styling. This is a very attractive little car. No question about that. It turns heads wherever it goes. How can you not smile when you look at this thing? I mean, it's as cute as a button. You really must have a heart made of stone if you don't smile when you look at this. Yeah, I like it. I really like the way it looks. If you buy cars just based on styling, this is worth buying. All cars grow in size, and so has the Fiat 500. Although it's not massively bigger, but it is bigger. But bigger has advantages. It has more interior room, which works just fine for me. What about the interior, you ask? Well, first, to get in, you gotta go into this crevasse here, pull a little handle, and the door opens. Electronic release. Is it a good thing to have that kind of electronic release? Not really. It feels kind of fragile. But, oh well, I guess it's cool. Speaking of cool, once you step inside, yes, this has a very cool interior. Although cheap plastics, but maybe cheap plastic saves weight. This is, after all, a small car. Weight savings would help its range and drivability and nimbleness, whatnot. So, not a bad idea. Okay, to start this thing, foot on the brake. You reach for the start-stop button, and fires up. digital display. You can select a few menu items. Such as, hold on, waiting for the map to load. There you go. It's got your sat nav here. Also has it here, but you can also have it right in front of you, which is kind of cool. Though I like the big speedometer in the middle. Also shows you when you're charging the car while on the move versus when you're using power. Best to stay on the green and not on the red if you're going a bit of distance. Center screen, 10.2 inch I believe. Fairly decent. Okay, not the fastest processor in the world, but it's okay. This is the climate screen. You get heated seats, but not a heated steering wheel. Otherwise, automatic climate control works fairly well. Then you have these row of buttons to adjust temperature, airflow, whatnot. I like the fact that these are actual hard buttons rather than doing everything from the touch screen. Moving down here, this is how you change gears. So remember that Maserati Grecale review I did? Yeah, that vehicle also had the same style of buttons. After all, Fiat and Maserati are both part of the Stellantis group, so there are a lot of shared bits between these makes. Also shared are these buttons behind the steering wheel for volume and seek, and these are on all the Dodge, Chrysler, Jeep products, then Maserati, Fiat, and even Ferrari. So there you go, you get some same switches as you do in a Ferrari. Wireless charging pad, that's the map of Torino there. It looks kind of cool. You look in the door pull here. It's the old Fiat 500, made in Torino, it says. Kind of nice. Down here you have drive modes. So when I play with this toggle, it'll let you go from normal range to Sherpa, where you're really maximizing range. Also limits your top speed to 80. So don't use it on the highway. Don't use Sherpa on the highway. I'll be in normal. Okay. What else? These seats are rather nice. They have the 500 logo on the seat, and the pattern reads out Fiat. And you've got this red piping around the seat. So very cool little car. Space wise, yeah, it's got back seats, but that's best for little children or your pet chihuahua. No adults, please. Up front, yeah, it's fairly spacious. I'm definitely not complaining on space. Look how much headroom I have. So, a very cool little car. Definitely. What's under the hood, you ask? Well, alright, first of all, gas struts. Good job, Fiat. Didn't cheap out. And, well, it doesn't have a combustion engine. After all, this is a electric vehicle. What you get is a single motor. Produces 117 horsepower and 162 pounds-feet of torque. battery. It's a 42 kilowatt hour, and when fully charged up, it'll give you a range of about 225 kilometers, which on my test is actually very accurate. I thought 225 would realistically mean 180, maximum 200, but no, 225 is fairly realistic even in winter. So good job, but I do wish it had at least a 300 kilometer range. More range would have been better, makes long distance driving a little bit more easy going, but not bad. Past this little Italian flag here. As you can imagine, power just goes to the front wheels through a single speed transmission. Is it quick? I'd say reasonably so. So what's it like to drive? Well, let's find out. The seat belt is a little far back. Not the most convenient thing to grab onto, but you'll get used to it. Okay, so since it's a cold day, I will turn the heated seats on. There is no heated steering wheel, so a little minus point there. We do like heated steering wheels in Canada. Okay. There's a reverse, and we'll go. Parking brake disengages. Alright, out in the snow. We're just out giving it a wash. Got this car on the week when we saw the most snowfall this year, so some would say not ideal, but hey, you gotta test cars in all conditions. So there are three driving modes, as I mentioned earlier. There is normal, there is range, and there is Sherpa. Sherpa is you really gotta conserve energy, turns the heater off, turns the heated seats off, and limits speed to 80 kilometers an hour. So it's pretty much there to try to get you home or get you to a charger. I've been mostly driving in range mode. So range mode is pretty much 1 foot, 1 pedal driving, because you get off the accelerator and the car just slows down. It'll come down to a full stop. In normal mode it wouldn't do that. In range mode you don't have the performance that you get with the normal mode, but the difference is not that big. And given that this is not a performance car, it's not a sports car, so range mode is more than good enough. Out on the highway. Okay, I'll put it in normal because I need to catch up, build up speed. You know, it's not the quickest EV in the world, but it's more than satisfying enough. You saw what we got in our 0 to 100 test on less than ideal conditions, very cold, slightly damp surface, but respectable. So this car isn't for those who want Tesla Plaid or Lucid Sapphire levels of performance, but then it's not even in that price range. This is a good urban runabout with more than enough get up and go for your driving needs. One thing I'm really pleasantly surprised by
is the ride comfort. I thought something this small with a shortish wheelbase, it's gonna bounce all over the place, but it actually rides the bumps really well. It's very comfortable. The one thing I would have liked or would change is the steering weight. It's a bit too light, which works great in the city, town centers. I guess that was the idea. But out on the highway, I would prefer if this had a heavier steering feel. Picks up speed rather well. It also handles rather well. Like I've been driving in these adverse conditions and I've seen cars get stuck, and I had to go through the same path, and this didn't get stuck. I guess having all the weight down into the floor of the car with the batteries and the way the electric motor is mounted, it gives you good traction. So no complaints regarding handling. Okay, so I bet you're wondering, what about economy? So since I picked it up, I've driven it 222 kilometers. Exactly right now, 222. And in this time, I've averaged 20.6 kilowatt hours per 100 kilometers. Okay, so I don't have much of a reference bank with other EVs regarding what's really good, what's really bad. More used to driving petrol engine cars and would tell you what the liters per 100 kilometers is and what's good, what's bad. But I'm fairly confident that this is pretty decent. 20.6 kilowatt hour per 100 kilometers is good. It's got this little graph on the dashboard which tells you if you're driving efficiently or inefficiently. So I always try to keep it happy, keep it green or yellow. When you're accelerating, it'll go into red. If you drive efficiently, you can get a fair bit of distance out of it. So 225 kilometer range on a full charge, yeah, you can see that. And it's fun eking out the mileage from this vehicle. It's just a good vehicle. It just is. Now with the wipers going, it's starting to snow. It's got auto sensing wipers. Also got lane departure warning, which is pretty good. I wish what this tester had was adaptive cruise control. I believe it's available as an option. Adaptive cruise control would make driving an EV long distance a little bit easier, I think. So if it's available, get the one with that, especially if you go a little bit of distance every now and then. Price, well, these are about 40,000 Canadian dollars, give or take. Don't know if there are any government rebates available for this, but yeah, at 40 grand, it's not cheap, especially when you're looking at it as a compared to other electric cars, roughly the same price. You can get cars with a lot better driving range. But this isn't bad, especially when you compare it to the Mini Electric, which is not only roughly $10,000 more expensive, but also has a lower range, like 183 kilometers, which in reality is probably less than that. So if you're looking for a electric city runabout that you can take every now and then on a highway trip, This Fiat 500 is pretty good. It gets my vote. If it was a convertible, I'd buy one. Hope you enjoyed the video. Please do like and subscribe.